Hello, it's me, Guy. Today's the day when we launch the Intravenous 1 Remastered DLC for Intravenous 2. And I wanted to talk about it because Intravenous for me is, it's a special game series now that the second game is out. So let me give you a bit of history. The first game, when I was working on it, I was self-funding and I was running out of money. I pretty much spent all my savings on it, and so I was running out of money and therefore time to develop the game. So there were various ideas and features that ended up being cut or not implemented into the game. And you can actually see those ideas implemented into the second game. So for example, the Molotov cocktails, that was something I wanted to have in Intravenous 1. The skill system, that was also something I wanted to have. I just decided not to because I couldn't figure out a way to graciously integrate it into the game, in the sense that the game would have been more difficult if there was a skill system and you had to go from level 1 to level 4 like in the second game in various skills. And the third thing that I wanted to add to Intravenous 1, but again I decided not to, both because of time constraints and because I thought it would be a detriment to the game's stealth gameplay. I thought that it would basically shift attention away from the stealth more towards the combat, and with the way I wanted to implement it back then, which would be like it is in a lot of modern games, which is that you use it, it depletes, and then it regenerates. If it was implemented that way, then it would most definitely take away from the stealth gameplay of the game and shift the focus more in combat. So these are just three ideas that I can think of off the top of my head that I wanted to have in Intravenous 1, but I couldn't add them because of time and budget constraints. And, there you have these features in Intravenous 2. And then another reason why I wanted to do this remaster ever since 2022, when I started working on Intravenous 2, is all these features that I added and all these improvements that I did to the second game. While I was working on it, I was thinking, man, it would be cool to be able to play through the campaign of the first game with all these new inclusions and improvements. And the third and last reason, and perhaps the primary one, why I wanted to make this remaster is because the quality of the first game is not as good as it could have been. And so by just polishing absolutely everything, updating the soundtrack, updating the localization, updating the levels, updating certain bits of dialogue so that they're, better, to put it mildly. I wanted to do all that as like a last little piece of content, if you can call it that, before I move on to my next project. And also because I want people to be able to experience both games at their best. Because if you play, for example, the second game and then you go back to the first one, there's a huge difference in quality. There's a huge difference in just the gameplay variety and everything. The second game is far, far better than the first one. And I wanted to bring up the level of quality of the first game to the level of quality of the second one. And you could say something like, but Spy, why not just make this a free update for the first game? And all I can say is, I really can't, because neither the first nor the second game made me millions. The second game is a successful game, a very successful game by my understanding, but it didn't make me $1 million. Okay, so if the first or the second game made me a bunch of money, I absolutely would make this a free update. There would be it would be a no-brainer. But when I don't have that level of capital and I'm investing my time and my money and my effort into something, I want to get something back from it, because I really want to be able to start a game company one day. And if I want to do that, I either need to be a slave to other publishers, which I don't want to do, or have so much capital that I can just self-fund, which is what I want to do. So by making this remaster, which is basically a very, very polished Intravenous 1, I hope to give something to the community, but also get closer to my goal of having enough capital to start a game company. I want to be able, at the very least, self-fund myself if nobody else is willing to fund my ideas for future games. Since I'm 30 years old, I've seen pretty much everything games have done already, and I want to try something myself that I have not seen other games do before, and this way make some interesting, cool games. So that's all I wanted to say for this video. If you've liked Intravenous 1 and 2, and you wish you could, play the first game with all the improvements of the second one, go check out the DLC on Steam. It's gonna cost $10, half the price of the original, and it's gonna be way better. also than the original. If you play Intravenous 2 and you try to go back to the first game after that, it's just a night and day difference in the level of quality. So thanks for watching. See you next time, and I hope that if you're buying the DLC, I hope that you'll enjoy it, because a lot of effort went into the first game, a lot of effort went into the second game, and yeah, I have nothing else to say. See ya.